Hello, and welcome back to Topics of Impact. My name is Matt Pettinelli. I'm your host, as well as the founder and CEO of CapGrow Partners. Topics of Impact aims to take topics and discussions that are typically held behind closed doors and in boardrooms to the forefront. It is with great pleasure today that we have Dave Richards joining us. Dave is the Deputy Secretary for North Carolina. Dave, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Matt. Appreciate it.
Before we jump in, we got to get to know you a little bit. So if you don't mind, we're going to take 60 seconds and get some background.
Sounds great.
All right. What city and state do you live in?
I live in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Wonderful. What's the favorite part about your job?
I love the people we work with, both at the agency and the providers and beneficiaries that we talk to all the time.
Okay. Outside of North Carolina, what's the favorite city that you visit?
Favorite city is New Orleans. It's my hometown.
All right. Wonderful. What's the favorite dish to make at home?
Well, I'm really lousy at cooking, but I do grill a mean steak, so that's it.
All right. Good deal. Do you have a karaoke song that you go to?
It's an old song by the Statler Brothers called Flowers on the Wall. I don't usually do karaoke, but if I do, that's the one I do.
Oh, very cool. Do you have any pets?
I not now, but I used to have two Boston Terriers, but we'll get one soon.
All right, good. Favorite sports team?
LSU Tigers.
All right, good. Are you a beach or mountains guy?
Oh, beach. Yes.
All right, thank you very much. That ends it. All right, Dave, we're going to jump right into the very first topic. Behavioral health tailored launch plan. Can you talk a little bit more about the Medicaid behavioral health launch plan that is set to be distributed in December?
Yeah, really excited about this. We have currently a carve-out mental health, DD, and substance use play, the behavioral health plan that we have, which is only providing specialty services. They are run through what we call LME MCOs. Think about them as older, newer versions of area mental health programs. There are 6 of them in the state. They currently do managed care for only that carve-out, but in December of this year, we'll be moving all other services for them to manage. So it'll be physical health, pharmacy, along with social determinants, and the carve-out services that they currently manage.
Mm-hmm.
We're excited about it because we believe whole person care is actually the place where we have to be.
Mm-hmm.
We've just launched for people with mild disabilities, our standard plans, and everybody else in Medicaid, a whole person care side of that. But this is really for people with significant mental health, substance use, and those with developmental disabilities for that plan.
Wonderful. Can you go into a little bit about how you chose the providers?
Yeah, it's a great story. So we have had this history of these local entities managing mental health services in North Carolina for 40 years. And as we've evolved our system, each step of the way, we've used those entities to continue to do that. They've evolved. They've moved from, I think there were 40 at the time I first came to North Carolina, now down to 6. So they're much larger regional plans. But what's great about them is they have these really terrific connections with local communities. They understand those communities. They've worked with them forever. And I think that community-based presence is so important in these efforts. So using those homegrown plans for this population, we think is really a great innovation for North Carolina. And then obviously making this whole person care is really, really the exciting part of it.
And in addition to some of the other key attributes you just rattled off, what other benefits are providers looking forward to with the implementation of the plan?
Well, that's a great question. For our community-based providers, those people that are providing direct services, we're actually asking many of them to step up to be care management agencies. So rather than have planned care management, we'll have that at the provider level because we believe, frankly, they're as close as they can be to the individual themselves.
Right.
Now, so many of them are managing, without being paid for it, about held accountable for it, managing so many of those care management functions, including physical health. Mm-hmm. Now, we believe by doing this and really paying them to do that work, focusing on that and holding them accountable, what we'll do is have a much more of a person-centered approach for this effort, one that really, really addresses social determinants, physical health, and those specialty services that people need.
Wonderful. It sounds really exciting. Obviously, a lot of planning and thought has gone into this. So congratulations to you and your team. And we're really interested to watch the rollout come December.
Should be exciting.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Dave, we're going to jump into the second topic, trends in the market. Obviously, it's been a very interesting, complex, and complicated prior 2 years. What types of trends are you seeing in the market that is impacting providers the most?
If I'd say that, I'd say it is workforce, right?
Mhm.
The for everyone that we deal with, and this frankly is across all sectors, but the shortages of healthcare professionals, and I think about nursing across the board. That's such a important effort. But we'll really get down to this direct care workforce, the folks that are really delivering the care at the local level.
Yep.
It is such a critical issue. COVID didn't create the problem; it only exacerbated. Right? We had a problem well before this. Now we know that many of our providers are it's almost impossible to find these workers.
Mhm.
So we have to really think differently about how we treat that workforce. The pay has got to improve. We've got to do that work. Very proud. We've done some really good things in North Carolina over the past year in conjunction with our General Assembly to raise those rates. But we have a long way to go to get people where they're competitive with
Mhm.
other industries across the board. And you think about the folks that we're serving, right? People that have the most significant needs. We need a workforce that is well trained, well paid, and
Yeah.
has the professionalism and frankly career paths to where they can stay in this effort. But I think that's the place that anytime I speak to another Medicaid director, it's the same issue they face. It's the issue all of our providers face.
Yeah, and I think we're hearing that nationwide, right? Not specific to obviously North Carolina or even the Southeast, but all over the place. All the providers are really battling and trying to come up with creative solutions to increase the pay, training, and offer realistic opportunities for the DSPs. So it's a national challenge. All right, Dave, we're going to move on to the third topic: Medicaid funded analytical data. How is this data and technology improving quality of life for those with behavioral health needs?
It's a great question, and let me start by saying is that I'm not the technology guy, right? So
Mhm.
I'm going to talk in generalities. We have made significant investment in North Carolina on our data systems and making sure that we are using technology to the best advantage. What I'm most excited about are two things. One is that I will say this, that we in North Carolina were almost in the dark ages on telehealth when we started the pandemic.
Yeah.
The pandemic, I will say this, I can't think of anything really good about the pandemic, but what it did do is it forced us to really change our mindset and how we use this work. So we radically changed our telehealth policies and how we work with our communities to do that. And what we're seeing is these incredible advancements by provider community about how to use them, rethinking telehealth in ways that frankly, we would have never thought about it right at the time. So that's one significant change in that, and that idea of how do you actually engage beneficiaries in a different way. And telehealth and all sorts of other things related to that are new ways in which we work with beneficiaries. So very exciting there.
Mhm.
But what I'm really excited about is thinking about what the future is, right?
Mhm.
So we are, again, this advancement that we had here, and in thinking about our systems inside of Medicaid. We have a system that pays providers really relatively well. What we don't have is a very nimble system, right? So what we're moving forward with are changes in our entire system, so that one is that we can take advantage of the new technology that's out there. I think Amazon and everybody else that does this work.
Yep.
We may not get to where they are, but we need to be close to that because we need to be nimble in how we make changes. We need to use artificial intelligence to rethink some of the ways that we support people.
Yep.
And how do we drive, actually what I am excited about, drive equity in our programs by using this technology.
Yep.
And so what I think is that we're just on a cusp of this incredible change in all of healthcare, but in Medicaid programs in particular, where we begin to use these technology advances to really, really support our beneficiary community, again, bring equity to the folks that we serve.
Yeah, no, I think you hit on the head, and we've had a couple other guests on the show that have said, telehealth was always on the to-do list. And then once the pandemic really settled in, it went to the very top of the list. And the commitment and, funding put behind really developing quality telehealth services, became much more significant than they ever intended, even from the beginning. And as a prior guest, Stacy, said, the toothpaste is out of the tube. You can't put it back in. So telehealth is here to stay. And it's either you get on board and put in the proper development, or you kind of get left behind.
That's absolutely right. It is there forever, and we've just got to make sure we manage it the right way and we support people in the best way possible.
For sure. All right, Dave, last topic. it's going to be about Medicaid. How has Medicaid improved in the state of North Carolina since you first started in the position? And how does the progress of Medicaid in North Carolina compare to other states that you survey?
It's a great question. And let me first start by saying that these improvements are all based upon an incredible team that we have in North Carolina. I've been Medicaid director for almost 6 years now in North Carolina. And every step of the way, except for the first month, we've been working on this transition to managed care. And I'll say we had great support from our General Assembly, great support internally once we decided what we were going to do. And one of those great supports was actually being able to bring in the kind of folks that we need to drive this change. So we had what a lot of states don't have is that kind of flexibility that we had to hire people that had the skill sets that we need. But more importantly, to make sure that we brought along the folks that were inside of Medicaid already and gave them the support and training they need, because people are incredibly dedicated. I mean, the work they do is hard, difficult, but they really care about the folks that we use. So number one is that ability to support people in that transition, bring other folks on has been significant improvement. We mentioned technology earlier. Just using technology differently has been really important in our efforts. But I think the most important thing that we've improved on is an agency. So we moved to managed care. It would take changes for, we're still accountable. This isn't moving it to the private sector and we're no longer accountable. We're accountable for everything in the Medicaid program. What we've really developed is an ability to manage contracts in a very different way. So now, about $7 billion of our $14 billion program are now with managed care organizations. But we have to make sure that they're performing to the contract standards that we've put in place. So we were fortunate. We were able to learn from all the other states, pull that together. And I would say that you talk to our health plans, what they'll tell you is that, we have sort of jumped over and leaped over a lot of places in terms of our contract management. And then the really important view of looking at equity and looking at social determinants has been a significant change in the Medicaid space. I say this, we all knew it, right? I mean, before people gave us presentations about social determinants, if you asked the question and we went down that path, we all knew that that was really the important driver of our health. We just didn't find a phrase and we didn't know how to manage it. So now we have all of us thinking about that differently. We have this incredible partnership with CMS for a pilot and social determinants for us. I'm convinced that's going to change the dynamic completely and what we do inside of Medicaid and healthcare to begin with. And then again, equity has become such an important thing. We knew it was an issue before, but now it's been right in our face. And so we are driving change to making sure that we're approaching our beneficiaries in a very different way to really understand those communities differently, support providers in that way. And I think that, again, a significant change during that period of time.
That's wonderful. Well, I can tell you that other states mentioned to us what you all are doing, and it's why we asked you to be on the show today. Everyone's kind of taking stock and really watching how this all is developed and unveiled. And congratulations to you and your team. And I'm a believer that successful teams are driven by successful leaders. So congratulations to you personally. And it's exciting. There's a lot going on and you're really at the forefront of it. So you're going to be a leader for the rest of the country.
I appreciate that so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave, we're wrapped up. Thank you so much for joining me today. This was our 6th episode of Topics of Impact. It has been a pleasure. You have a lot to be proud of. Your team sounds wonderful. And I know a lot of other states are looking up to you and really excited to see how everything is unveiled coming December and thereafter.
Matt, thanks a lot for the chance to talk to you. This is a lot of fun. Really appreciate it.
All right. Wonderful. Well, you have a great day. Everyone, please check back in for our next episode. Thank you very much for being with us. Take care.